where am I on here? Though your music's not politically political as per se, you state in interviews that you have more respect for left side politics. In a music scene where right wing agendas are sometimes more prevalent than left, do you ever get any heat for leaning more towards the left side of things?
Um, Honestly, I thought that we would. Um, and I'm sure there's people out there, sort of black metal ideologues on chat rooms or whatever that would say that Wolves in the Throne Room are, false or traitors or whatever, and I couldn't care less about that sort of thing. But kind of interesting thing is that we've been protested as a neo-Nazi band. I don't know if you've ever heard about this.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, on our last tour in Europe a year ago, um, we had 3 shows canceled, and we had the threat of violent protest at a few of the shows in Germany because people were under the sort of bizarre impression that Wolves in the Throne Room was some sort of right-wing neo-Nazi band, which and just judging by the tone of your voice, you find that to be completely ridiculous
Yeah.
and seems to go against all of the things that we've always said in interviews. But yeah, that actually happened, and we were just in Europe just a week ago, and it was still an issue. It was people would still ask us about it all the time, and especially in Germany, there's still the perception that Wolves in the Throne Room is a neo-Nazi band.
Yeah, Knockmistium actually just got the same thing. They just got booted off the Scion
That's right.
Festival because of it. And they're not Nazis either.
Of course. Well, the source of the problem with our band was I was asked in an interview, um, if there's a political spectrum. On one side, you have a left-wing squatter punk, and the other side, you have a band like Drudka, for instance, which is a pagan nationalist, a pretty hardcore right-wing band. Where does Wolves in the Throne Room fall? And I said, well, we're not a political band at all. I think that none of us are interested in viewing the world through the lens of politics. That's just really far from the worldview that we have nowadays. But at the same time, we're completely against the idea of racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism. I think these are really backwards and worthless ideologies. But then, where I got into trouble, I said, but the right wing, especially in Europe, has co-opted some, I think, really worthwhile things. For instance, in Europe, radical environmentalism is oftentimes associated with the far right. And heathen spirituality, if you're wearing a Thor's hammer around your neck, people will assume that you are a neo-Nazi. And I said, well, that's ridiculous, and these are things that should be able to be reclaimed by anyone. And that was enough in Germany for us to be denounced as neo-Nazis. It was completely ridiculous, and I lost a great deal of respect for the German, sort of underground punk scene, if you will, because I think everyone knew that it was a ridiculous witch hunt, but everyone was too afraid to do anything about it because as soon as you defend someone who's being accused of being a right-wing band, then you too are also suspect. Yeah, it was quite disheartening.
You've also stated that you're not too fond of the consumer based society and you and your brother live on a farm and cultivate your own plants and livestock. How did you go from making the transition to living in the regular society to living on a farm life?
Um, well, it just seemed like a really natural thing for us. I think that both of us were reared in a punk scene, an underground DIY scene, and have always been interested in finding some other way to live. Um, we've always been malcontents, and we've always seen a deep emptiness that uh, in the modern way of living. Um, and so, there just came a point when we realized that there was no turning back for us, and we're not going to be the kind of people that have jobs and live in the mainstream society. And we need to have a place to make a stand and be able to manifest the world that we want to live in. And so, just through a series of coincidences and a good luck and a great deal of work, we managed to buy an old farmstead near Olympia, which is the town that we live in. And I suppose it's just moved onwards and upwards from then. My girlfriend does all of the actual, she does the farming, the growing of the food. That's the way she earns her living, and she's quite good at it. I'm more interested in, in the other aspects of that sort of lifestyle, building in traditional sorts of ways, and gathering firewood and this sort of thing. It'd be, if we were truly farmers, we wouldn't be able to go on tour, of course, because one needs to be, wed to the land in a very serious sort of way. So for the time being, Nathan and I have a bit more flexibility, so we're able to record music and go on the road if we desire.
How much of an impact do you think your lifestyle bears on your music?
I think that for me, it's absolutely everything. When we go on tour, I can feel myself, weakening spiritually. I can feel the connection with, this ancient spirit, this transcendent spirit. I can feel it diminishing, being away from home and being away from a traditional rhythmic lifestyle and being away from wild and natural places. And the way I see it, Wolves in the Throne Room, the music is an expression of the things that I see and feel every day when I work outside, in close contact with natural processes, or spend time in the mountains and forests. That's it for us. That's the source of the power for our music.
You did more touring than ever for Two Hunters, including a nationwide tour and some dates over in Europe. Do you plan on doing more touring for Black Cascade, or about the same amount?
We do. We have a good amount of touring coming up. More than I ever really intended on doing. But I think it's good to kind of get it all done in one fell swoop. We just returned from a month-long tour of Europe, and in 2 weeks we leave for a 2-week trip on the West Coast, and then we return home, and then we have a few weeks off, and then we play the Roadburn Festival again in Holland, and we return home and have a few weeks off, and then after that we'll be on tour for a solid 2 months, touring the whole U.S. and then doing 3 weeks or so in Europe, playing festivals and what have you. And after that, we'll be done. By July 15th, I plan on putting the band aside for a good long while and focusing on some other very important things that I'd like to accomplish.
That was all I had planned. Thanks for the interview. Is there anything
It was good speaking to you, Anthony.
Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion?
No, I think I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Thanks.